an application version filter to help make sure that DFF only runs on versions of the product that we want to run against. Choosing your fuzzers and templates is simple lists. We both have team-wide and public fuzzers and templates. So Tom might go into the system and define a new fuzzer that MSec released, and I can get access to that immediately. I might have my special configurations of my fuzzers from my specific product and my specific file types that other teams' Word doesn't really care about my database format, and they're not going to see those. And so I have my own list, they have their own lists, and we can easily pick those up. Oh, and also with templates, the same idea here. And the other thing that we're pushing is improved template selection. So this is kind of a bad example because the template set is 850 files. And we're pushing teams to have smaller sample set or smaller sets of files that better represent the testing that they need to do. And so by having it in this nice, easy-to-use dropdown and having it indexed based off directory structures on some of our servers automatically again, teams can very easily define a rigid set of templates and very specifically pick what they want to do. Don't have to worry about losing templates, don't have to worry about losing fuzzers. And DFF aids in things like machine throttling for less powerful machines. So if I was trying to pass out to my team to have them do fuzzing outside of DFF, I'd have to say, oh, if you have a machine with less than 2 gigs of RAM, we're going to need to throttle a little bit, or if you have a slow processor. And DFF tries to do some work to help out with that automatically so we don't waste any cycles. That's one of the keys. We don't want to waste cycles and waste fewer machine hours by throttling a little bit. So the next goal, centrally manage all fuzzing jobs. And obviously we have a big web presence to manage just about everything about the system, but here's a look at the current runs page, which kind of lists out what work is going on. Now, what I see as a user for the Access team is going to be just Access. I don't see everybody else. It looks like this is my kind of private system. Now, Tom would see everybody's and can monitor the progress that's going on in the system. And we even added some additional filters, of course, to just help you out to better see what's going on. And as we look down this list of runs, we can see that we can monitor the progress, how far we've gotten. Now, you'll note that I kind of blocked out the failures column because I didn't want to give away any secrets here. But I can see immediately maybe that a failure has happened in that first run, for example, and I can begin to go investigate it immediately while it's running. So before, I'd have to set up a fuzzer, maybe run it over the weekend, and I'd have a good weekend and come in on Monday, and I'd get the results and have to look through those. Well, I can just come to this website and see, failed file. I'm going to go investigate it right now, as I'm running maybe during the week. We have some basic controls, so you can help move your runs around in the queue. You can privatize your runs if, say, you wanted to do some testing on one and didn't want the whole system to pick it up. And go in and easily modify your settings from here. I zoomed out a little bit in this screenshot. I wanted to show you what our queue looked like. So this is part of the queue, and then we have more of the queue, and then even more of the queue. So there's a lot of work that we place in our queue in Office. And this isn't a backlog. I want to clarify that we're tearing through this queue constantly. And just, this will be maybe a week, 2 weeks, I don't know. It depends on what kind of machines we have configured to get through it, because DFF is smart about how it deploys out its machines. But we also have hundreds of machines tearing through this work. So this queue we're constantly going through, and the queue is constantly regenerating itself. So we expect a big queue like this of work that we want to be done. And speaking of those regenerating runs, meeting the SDL is an important requirement. So based around my file formats, say I'm the Excel team and I want to monitor my progress on XLSB, I can take this quick view to see all the runs that were XLSB based on my SDL sign-off requirements and see, I'm getting up to that 100,000 mark, and I can monitor my progress on my failures right there to see that I'm doing a good job maybe, or maybe not doing so good a job of getting to the SDL requirement. Our final goals are around detecting duplicate crashes across runs and in Product Studio, which for those externally, Product Studio is our bug logging database, and automate logging crashes, or automate the logging crashes process to the bug database. And this is one of my favorite parts, so we're actually going to show you what the results look like. Before I show you the results, this is a screen that I can come in on Monday and immediately see what I need to do. These are the uninvestigated runs if I was the Word team that I need to take a look at. And the benefits here are that I'm not having to dig through these logs across all these machines. I just immediately see these results, and DFF goes a little bit further to try to help identify, so we see in that first run I found 5 failures, but only one of those failures doesn't have a bug. Maybe I've already assigned bugs to those. Maybe they're kind of duplicated, and DFF thinks, these might all be the same, so you only really have one potential issue here to look at. So this gives me a quick idea of how my fuzzing is coming along and what I need to look at. And here's our results page. So right at the top we give you some details about the overview of the results. I want to call out one thing in here, which is the unpost-processed count. When DFF generates the files out on the machines, if for some reason it can't run and test those files, we bubble them back up to our systems and hold on to them and then distribute them out to other machines. We try for every single file we generate to run it at some point across another machine. For sequential runs, we're very rigid about that. For random runs, it's possible that a file might not get run, but we do our best and we store those off. So if you see that you have some unpost-processed files, you can go in and run those if you're really worried about running every single file that was generated. We surface the same categorization based on the fuzzer. So the fuzzer determines possible exploitabilities and different things like that, and we just surface that up to the user. We don't make any determinations on our own. The tools have some great features built in, and we just expose that to the user so they can follow along with the SDL. Failures get hit across multiple products. We know in Office we have a ton of shared code, and so, or something like GDI Plus, we might perhaps have a bug there, who knows. And so we could quickly see that there's a huge hit count, and also then the file count just for my special set of files that I'm running here. And we collect these in a small sample set of files. So again, not to burden the hardware with too much, but teams can go in and say, I need some more files, and ask DFF for more files, and it'll collect additional files. So we're helpful in that regard. We have all the full details from the file fuzzer logs. We pull all that up and we parse it into a pretty UI, which I'm not going to show you today. But that includes EIP, fault address, instructions, registers, the whole call stack, listing of repro files that we have and we've stored off in DFF. You don't need to worry about where those go. We manage all those files for the teams. The dumps that were included, full, mini dumps, we have systems to deal with that too. For big full dumps can be a lot of storage, and how we deal with those. We have that all built into DFF. And what the OS version was, between 32-bit and 64, it's really important for me as a tester to immediately know that this bug was found in 32-bit or found in 64-bit or across both, and we can do that on our results page. DFF makes recommendations for bugs. So based on things it's seen before for other teams or your team, it might make a recommendation. So here it's thought, these 2 failures look like something I've seen before. And so this aids with me getting through my investigations a lot quicker. And we've added some bug icons for the testers to know the status of the bugs without even loading Product Studio. I can just go into my results page. Like for instance, this last failure might concern me because it has a little star, which means that it got fixed. Let's say it was fixed in a build before this build, and so now I know I need to look into why I'm still seeing this, and the dev told me it was fixed. We can easily log the bugs from here too. We just select the little check boxes and click log bug, and it does it all through our system. We go into a web service called RoboWatson that we have internally, which presents this nice bug creation page. This really helps out with giving us consistent bugs for the devs. Everybody gets it in the same format across all of Office. It's easy for teams like TWC to come in and see what the bug actually is and what's going on there. And all the associated files get immediately attached. If you have multiple failures, we attach those. If you have dumps, we attach those. So the bug is ready to go for the dev to look at immediately as soon as it comes out of DFF. Turn it back over to Tom. He'll tell you a little bit more about the results we've had with DFF and who's using it.
Thanks, David. So the process, the tool that David built really cut down the amount of time it took for testers to do investigation. It used to be something that took many days for testers to do, and now it just takes less than an hour for the typical test contact to go in and investigate their product's failures. So we have many teams using the system today, and hopefully after today's presentation we may have many more. So Office is certainly using it. SharePoint, the SWI/MSEC team is doing some interesting things. Gavin Thomas is working on some stuff right now where when MSRC cases come in and we have to fix those, we want to make sure that there are no variants or bugs close in that area. And so they're using DFF to do that. And then there's some additional teams. So let's talk